Hello and welcome back to the HYPE Bulletin, hosted by yours truly, Ralph Mentor. Before I start, again, please subscribe, like, comment here on the YouTube page and all to help support the podcast. And if you're listening on any podcast platforms, Apple or Spotify or even Amazon, please leave a rating or drop a review or a comment too as well there to, again, support the podcast. And again, to help support the podcast, please visit likeeaglellc.com. Subscribe to our website too as well for our upcoming shop and giveaway with the shop too as well. And all you'll see here, whoops, yeah, I keep doing that. Got the fly pin on right now as well. Got the wristband on too as well, and a sticker, like I said in the previous episode, that will be involved with the package that will be on the shop. And stay tuned for any news about the giveaway and all that I'll be having late in the summer, early fall and all. But I'm here actually on time this time. No type of late reaction, all too as well. Every 2 games of each series in the NBA playoffs have completed as of last night, at least. Now, where the the Houston Rockets were able to pull off a big win over the Golden State Warriors. An unfortunate injury happened in that game, unfortunately, for the Golden State Warriors, and we'll see how long that player is out and all. But before we get into it, let me minimize myself a little bit so we can give a little love to the bracket on the screen if you guys are listening or watching on the YouTube side of the podcast and all. But as you can see, I hope you can see, it's kind of small. So let's see if we can make it bigger. Pause. Give me a second. Here we go. A little zoomed in just a little bit. But as you can see on the top left corner of the screen, excuse me, I got a weird cough this morning. But as you can see on the top left side of the screen, at least, now we got the OKC Thunder on my unfortunate side of picking the Grizzlies, at least, and all. We got the OKC Thunder up 2-0 on the Memphis Grizzlies and all. Essentially a dominant start for the OKC Thunder in these first 2 games, at least, and all. They had a 50-point win in Game 1 against the Grizzlies, and all. I would ire on the side of the Memphis Grizzlies playing a basketball game by 48 hours before playing that game. But you can see in the going into the second quarter how OKC really dominated that game and all through forcing turnovers. Memphis is not what's the proper word? They're not very good at keeping the ball away from the other team, at least, and also guys like Jay Williams and Alex Caruso, both had their transition opportunities. Aaron Wiggins too as well. Isaiah Joe, Cason Wallace had himself a big dunk in Game 1, at least, and all too as well. So it was a huge game for OKC, huge showing for them in Game 1. Game 2, they had their command in that game. The Memphis Grizzlies were able to able to lower the deficit to single digits and all too as well. But unfortunately, OKC was able to double up the score once again. Honestly, I think they won that game in Game 2 by 20, at least, and all. But Memphis showed a bit more resistance, at least, and all, by not being down by a considerable amount in the late stretches of the game, at least, and all. At least in Game 2, at least, and I was impressed that they were able to at least make it. I know, impressed. They were saying that losing by 8 in the third quarter is an impressive feat, but being down or losing by 50 and all for most of the game too as well. You can say they were down by 30, 40 by most of that basketball game. I thought it was impressive that they were within an 8-point deficit of catching up to the Thunder in the third quarter, at least, and all. And Jaren Jackson finally showed out and actually put up some numbers in that game too as well, in Game 2, and I think contributed to at least Memphis showing a bit more resistance than they did before in Game 1, at least, and all. So that's where we at least in that series, and all. I think Game 3 will be today, Thursday, at 9:30, and all. So we'll see with Memphis back home. Are they able to figure themselves out and see if they can pull out a win, or they'll be down 0-3 and essentially be looking at a sweep by the OKC Thunder and all, even for a staunch critic like me against the OKC Thunder this season, at least, and all. Even I would say that's pretty impressive if they're able to sweep Memphis and all too as well. So up to the second game that we have here on the left side of the screen in the Western Conference, probably the best series best series for over the first 2 games, at least, on the NBA playoffs. can't argue it's the Nuggets and Clippers and all. Both games have been back and forth and all. The Clippers, you can say, have had more command in this in this series at least, and all, because of the last one that they had with Game 2 and Kawhi Leonard going completely nuclear and all too as well. But they had a 15-point lead in Game 1. They just blew it at the end at least, and all turnovers were a big part why they lost that game, and you can say turnovers were a big part why the Nuggets lost Game 2 at least. Knowing you have, I think they had 20 turnovers, and Jokic I think led the team with 7 of them too as well. So, but I think it's been an awesome series and all. Even with the turnover issues, the Nuggets easily could have won Game 2 and all too as well. But Kawhi Leonard, in my opinion, went completely nuclear against the Nuggets at least and all too as well. Only missed 4 shots overall in that game and all, and he wasn't chilling in the paint either and all too as well. But Harden has showed out in this series, and I think he only had 18 points in this game at least. And all, Norman Powell had himself a few moments and all. He wasn't looking good in Game 2 to start the game and throughout the game, but stepped up big time towards the end at least and all too as well. And I feel like Ivica Zubac has been a big contributor for the Clippers at least. And all, you can argue maybe their most consistent player so far at least and all too as well. Even though Kawhi didn't have a bad game, one at least and all, just wasn't as thrilling as it was for him at least and all in Game 2 at least and all. But to me, like I said, the first 4 games in this series could be the best games in the playoffs right now. The first 2 haven't been too shabby and all. Now the Clippers will be going back home at least and all, have the home court advantage after taking one in Denver. Honestly, can argue if they can keep that 15-point lead in Game 1, could be up 2-0 going back to LA at least now. But I think they got the job done, got 1-1, and they're going back to the Intuit Dome at least now. Should be interesting how that shakes out for them too as well. And also, that's the second game that at least I'm mentioning so far. We got the Lakers T-Wolves. So far, a little surprised because I thought the Lakers would win this in 5. At least now, Game 2 was a good showing of why I felt that way, but I was impressed on how Ant Edwards playmates in Game 1 at least now, got his other teammates going throughout that basketball Game 2 as well. Honestly, Jaden McDaniels, big game for him in Game 1. As you can see in Game 2, there is a variant with their shooting in Minnesota, so I am concerned about that. But they did, again, well, like I said about the Clippers, they did get the job done, and they were able to get one in LA to at least force the home court advantage to their side at least and all. I am concerned. I was very impressed by Anthony Edwards' playmaking in the first game, but you saw the complete other side in the second game at least, and also I'm concerned that we're going to see more of Game 2 than Game 1 at least, because I still think there's some levels that he needs to catch up with playmaking-wise consistently. He can obviously show it, because I saw it in Game 1 at least, with his 9 assists at least and all too as well. But can he do it consistently at least? Because I do like the depth of Minnesota, but it is on Ant to help them play make at least and all. To the Lakers at least and all, Austin Reeves showed out in Game 2 at least and all after a wonky performance in Game 1 at least and all. I feel like Luke has been pretty damn consistent for them too as well. It's the 5 position, lack of 5 at least and all. I'm not a believer in Jackson Hayes at least and all too as well, and they lack depth, unfortunately, at the 5 position too as well, honestly. But I think he's played awesome to start and all too as well. You can't argue he's probably how can I say it, mismatch hunting too much with Rudy Gobert. Honestly, is maybe stalling their offense a bit too as well, but Austin Reeves was able to figure it out in the last game at least. They did have stretches of slowing down a bit too offensively, even with their big lead. They did have their moments offensively where they were moving in mud basically, and I believe in the fourth they missed, or at the end of the third going into the fourth, or somewhere around that around that time they missed 10 straight shots at least and all too as well. So, and LeBron finally hit a layup, I think a transition layup, to finally break that streak and all too as well. So there is some issues there with the Lakers offensively. Again, I just trust Luka and Luka's playmaking right now, because we haven't seen LeBron too much right now too as well. You can argue, is this series, are the young legs of Minnesota have him looking old at least, or older at least? Because I don't want to diss this nigga, man. Pause, my bad for that, but it's true though, because I what's it called there? He's had an All-NBA season, and the guy's 40 plus years old at least, and also it's not trying to disrespect LeBron James or anything like that, but still. He has looked old in this series so far at least, and also I'm curious, are the young legs in Minnesota making them look old, or again, is he taking his time throughout this series too as well, knowing he has a player like Luka that can step up and take over in this series too as well. So it's an interesting dynamic. I'm curious how the Lakers played this one out. I still believe in them that they clear out this series or get through this series, because I think I just like them more. What's it called there? My bad there. But I just what I saw in Game Two of Minnesota, I think I just see more of going forward than what we saw in Game One, at least. And all. So that's why I trust the Lakers a bit more. Luka's just been pretty consistent too as well. So I would think that's going to continue too as well. And all. And then for the last series, I did mention about an injury earlier, and all. I think yeah, you guys can probably see it on the right side of the screen there too as well. But Jimmy Butler took a bad fall. Nothing dirty about it. Looks like Amon Thompson and Draymond Green, you know what I mean? Ironically, got tussled up at least and all. And unfortunately, Amon Thompson, what's it called, tripped or fell over towards Jimmy Butler while he was up grabbing a rebound and was underneath him while Jimmy Butler was coming down from the rebound and all. Unfortunately, land on the backside of his body and all. Pause, but yeah, at least. But unfortunately, I think what's the condition? The pelvis contusion that he suffered yesterday and all too as well. So we'll see how long he could be out and all. Curry had a situation like that earlier this season and all. I believe he missed maybe one game, missed a couple games at max at the most at least and all. So it is interesting at least and all with the performance of Jalen Green at least and all, showing up for 38 points at least and all too as well. Me asking, am I seeing more? Do I see the way Minnesota Timberwolves played against the Lakers and all? Is it more Game 1 that can move forward or Game 2 of it moving forward at least? Like I said, I think it's more Game 2 moving forward, and I feel the same way about Jalen Green at least. He may not score 38 points each game, but I don't expect him to shrink with 17 points per game going forward at least. I feel like it's more of the latter, and I would see more 38 or more 30-point performances, or at least 27, 28-point performances more than 17-point performances and all too as well. So that can be concerned about the Warriors if they do lose a scorer like Butler for a game or two and all. Jalen Green's able to keep this consistency up at least and all, because Alfred Sengun has completely dominated this series, which shouldn't be a surprise at least and all. And I think that's going to continue. I don't care if it's on the road or away at least and all too as well. Just there's no one on the Warriors that can guard him right now. Can the Rockets just get enough perimeter offensive play, especially shot making, scoring at least and all? And Jalen Green should be the candidate of them doing that if he can give you more performances like that. I'm gonna like the Rockets a bit more going forward if Butler is out for a considerable time. I would expect him to be out for a game, even though I did hear that they'll have 2 days off before Game 3, so maybe that could help that he can be back in time for Game 3 and all. But I do expect them to miss a game. And all, like a guy like Tatum, I thought he was going to play after his wrist injury and all too as well, and he ended up missing Game 2. And all, I'll get into what happened in Game 2 against the Magic, at least not for my Boston Celtics, at least and all. But still, if he's out for a considerable amount of time and Jalen Green's able to continue scoring with the way Sengun is playing, gotta like how the you gotta like the Rockets moving forward at least and all too as well. You can still like the Rockets if Jimmy Butler gets back too as well, because Sengun's been so dominant. You just need someone else on the other side to match Curry, and if Butler is able to come back for Game 3 at least. Also, it doesn't mean anything in my opinion. I really think it's an even series at least and all. Jalen Green showing out is a big thing at least and all. Can Jimmy Butler just get back in time where they're not so behind in the series and all, and keep it a stranglehold? Either someone goes up 2-1, make it 2-2, 3-2, 3-3, and we have a Game 7 at least and all, which I expect at least and all too as well, because of the defense that you're seeing it too in these first 2 games, the physicality of the Houston Rockets at least and all too as well. The Warriors and the Rockets players have gone back and forth multiple times in both games at least and all, so would expect that to continue at least and all too as well. I don't see how this series doesn't go 7 at least and all too as well, as long as Jalen Green's playing well and as long as Jimmy Butler doesn't miss more than a game in my opinion at least and all. I feel like this series is going 7 and all. It's all about who can impose their will by the end of it at least and all. So that's where I'm at with the West so far, with 2 games in at least and all for each series and all. And we go to the Eastern Conference on the right side of your screen. We got the Cleveland Cavaliers up 2-0 on the Miami Heat at least and all too as well. This is where I'm going to get have a little critique too about the Cavs, because I hear so much about the 3-point shooting of the Boston Celtics and all. And I feel like the Cleveland Cavaliers have relied a ton more on the 3-point shot in the first 2 games of this series and all. They had a huge explosion in the fourth quarter against the Miami Heat and all, where impressively the Miami Heat, after their 48 games coming off of their last play-in game and all from the tournament at least, 48 hours later in game one against the top seed in the Eastern Conference at least, but they did put out an impressive performance where they were in the game at least in the second half at least, I would say in the first half they kept themselves close. Cleveland was able to build a lead at least, the Heat in the third quarter were able to come back a bit, but the Cavs were able to explode after the Heat were able to close in a little bit, I think within like 8-10 points, something crazy, but they were able to explode and blow them up by like 20 points at least, for game one and all. And in game two, same thing, but this time Cleveland exploded in the second quarter, won a big run. I think they were up by 20, maybe 25 at least, something big like that. But the Miami Heat were able to come back, get it within two, and Cleveland were able to, Donovan Mitchell, I should say, was able to hit some big shots, and they were able to stave them off of there and win by at least by 10 or something like that too as well, honestly. So they'll be going into game three, where the Cavs, or going into game three in Miami, where the Cavs are up 2-0 and all too as well. Again, this is where Cleveland should win this series. I had them in 6 and all too as well. That's why I'm saying I'm impressed by Miami at least being in that game in game one at least and almost had themselves a chance to get a lead there in game two at least But Davion Mitchell's been impressive and all. I've been impressed by their young rookie over there in Cal Ware and all too as well. I think that they finally got a keeper as one of their younger players at least. And they've been trying to help up young players. Heat culture. They've been trying to help up young players at least from fans' perspective for I feel like a couple seasons, and now I feel like they finally found one there. And Bam honestly has been pretty consistent too as well in this series, and all. In game one played pretty well defensively against Evan Mobley. Evan Mobley stepped out a little bit more in game two, so I'll give Evan Mobley credit there too as well of adapting and adjusting, was able to step up this game at least and all too as well. But shouldn't be too surprising that Miami can make this can make these games interesting at least and all. It isn't surprising that the Cavs are up 2-0 at the end of it at least and all too as well. So it should be interesting if Miami again, like the Grizzlies, can get a game or two and make this somewhat interesting and all too as well. But again, I do expect the Cavs to move forward at least, because again, they have a shit ton of offensive power at least, and I would expect them to move forward past the Heat because of their lack of offensive capabilities at least. And also we get to the next series after the Heat, at least on the right side from what you're looking at on the screen at least, and all people that are watching on the YouTube side, we got the Pacers and the Bucks. Been an interesting series so far. Some deem it over after the Pacers being up 2-0 and all. I'm not going to go there at least and all. The Pacers do show a propensity of blowing games from time to time, and you can see it somewhat in game two, even though they stepped up and they were able to hold off the Bucks late in that game at least and all. But I have a feeling that the Bucks are going to win both games. If you look at the most consistent player in this series after the first two games, it's Giannis Antetokounmpo and all too as well. They just got Damian Lillard from that blood clot issue. That was his first game in game two against the Pacers and all too as well. So I would expect him to have himself a big game coming up, if not game three, definitely game four at least and all. So I just expect the Bucks to win both of their home games. It is interesting, can they win a game on the road in Indiana? I don't think so. But can Indiana win at Milwaukee? I don't think so. So that's why I think this series is going 7 at least and all too as well, where I still would favor the Pacers in that scenario because of the other players on their team at least. We talk about Nembhard, who's starting the series pretty damn well so far. Ben Mathurin and all too as well. We got Miles Turner, we got Pascal Siakam and all too as well with Indiana. T.J. McConnell is always out there in the playoffs making a play, having a moment here or there too as well. So I just trust the team more than what's going on in Milwaukee and all. Individually, even with Kuzma with his quintuplet zeros and losing the bet for our buddy of mine that we speak to on Twitter, and I want to talk about me and Vince at least, and all, host of the Vince Size Sports Show, where you can find every weekday on Twitter from Monday through Friday, starting at 10 at least and all. But still, yeah, couldn't help. Kuzma couldn't help that buddy out getting a bet and all too as well. But still, even with his lack of inconsistencies and all, I still like the talent individually in Milwaukee. When we talk about Portis and Brook Lopez and Kevin Porter Jr. at least and all, even Trent and Taurean Prince to a degree about those two at least and all, those last two, but still they have a decent amount of talent. Obviously I don't trust the coaching around it and all. I trust Rick Carlisle a bit more honestly, especially leading an injury-riddled team to the Eastern Conference Finals and all too as well for the Indiana Pacers at least and all. So that's why at the end I still trust the Pacers. Like I said, Giannis is probably the best player so far, not even the best player, he's just the best player in this series so far. So that's why I still give the Bucks a chance of winning these games at home. But I don't think they're a better team where they can overcome. I don't think the team with Giannis is good enough where I see them beating the Indiana Pacers in the game 7 on the road at least and all. When we go to the next series, can I scroll it down? Yes, we can. Now this series is very. Now I found this the most interesting series on the Eastern side, similarly to the Denver Nuggets and the Clippers series on the West side and all too as well, because the Pistons show that they can beat the New York Knicks and all. Do you trust Cade Cunningham because of his youth? Do you trust the vets, even though they're vets and all? You trust vets in the playoffs. These are vets that were thrown away from their previous situations, at least, when you look at Tobias Harris in the Philadelphia 76ers situation, where he was basically, what's it called there, an afterthought when they wanted Jimmy Butler, honestly, but had the money and decided to spend it on him, and he's been lackluster in his playoff performances and all. Tim Hardaway Jr., who barely played on a finals team in the Dallas Mavericks last season too as well. We got Malik Beasley, who was with the Bucks last year, led the league in three-point percentage, similarly to how he's doing it this year and all. And they still let him go. And Dennis Schroeder, who got traded to two or three or four different teams this year before finally setting with Detroit this season and all too as well. So you question those guys just based on being throwaways and actually all coming to Detroit together, a team that won 14 games all together and all. And they're looking at a 51 season so far, with if you include if they can win more playoff games at least and all, or get to the next round and maybe winning more playoff games at least and all, if they can beat the Knicks at least. But still, there's some knocks about the Pistons getting actually having a legit chance of winning this series. But when we just look at basketball, though, even though I bring up all those negatives at least about them, but when you look at basketball, at least Kate Cunningham's the best player in the series so far. Who's got the better depth outside of their best player? And all, when it's between Kate Cunningham and Brunson, you can argue the Detroit Pistons at least and all, because all the Knicks have is a starting five at least and all. You got Dennis Schroeder. I'm not sure how the Pistons are starting off the top of my head at least and all, but you still got Dennis Schroeder, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Malik Beasley. I highly doubt all three of those guards are starting next to Cade Cunningham, and also just on that alone, they got depth behind there too. You got Jalen Duren as their starting five. I'm pretty sure Beef Stew, Isaiah Stewart as their backup center too as well, honestly. So, and then you got Tobias Harris there too as well, honestly, as their starting four and all. So it's just a whole bunch more depth. Even though these guys are throwaways from previous teams, at least and all, they are talented enough where just look at the season that the Detroit Pistons have had this year and all too as well, from 14 wins to 42 and all too as well. All guys that have had expectations of doing well, but things just didn't work out and all. They're working out with Cade Cunningham, who again I think is the best player in this series so far. Wasn't able to get going offensively, which I credit the Knicks defense to reason why he didn't get going offensively in the first game, but was able to at least dish the ball around for, I believe, 8 assists at least and all. Then in game 2 was able to figure either the Knicks stopped doing what they're doing, which I disagree. I would think they're still doing the same thing that they're doing. Cade Cunningham was just able to figure it out and all. And I just think he was getting into the offense a bit more quicker than he was in game 1 at least and all. So again, just credit to him to adjusting at least and all. Where I'm looking at, to the reason why I'm saying he's the best player in the series, I'm looking at Jalen Brunson not moving the basketball and all, and which I understand because he is the best scorer on that team and all too as well. So I can't disagree on why he's playing the way he's playing, but I think he's not getting his players going at least and all. When we look at game 2, and while I'm giving Cade Cunningham credit for moving the ball around, Dennis Schroeder hit a big shot for the Pistons late in the stretches of the fourth quarter and all, and I feel like him getting off the ball, moving the ball a bit at least, and even with some possessions that I hated that didn't end with Cade Cunningham with the basketball at least and all. I liked him getting his teammates going at least and all, to create, I know it's lame in a way, but just to create some type of rhythm and chemistry for his players and all. And I feel like you kind of saw it with that big shot Dennis Schroeder made at the end of towards the end of the fourth quarter to help them win that game and all. When we look at the other side with Jalen Brunson and all, Mikal Bridges, I believe, had 2 chances to hit a shot to at least tie the game or win the game or go into OT or whatever it would have been the situation, but he missed them, and he missed them badly and all too as well. And I just felt like there was no rhythm for Mikal Bridges to even take those type of shots too as well, honestly. It was only going to be Jalen Brunson, and Detroit's smart enough in late situations. You get the ball out of Jalen Brunson's hands and make someone else hit the shot and all too as well. Another reason why probably my critique of Brunson's high, because I saw Detroit play high on 4 of the other players on his team at least and all, and he chose to go straight to the basket quickly. I feel like in a situation like that, probe a bit, sucking the defense a little bit more towards you because you are the best player. That gravity is going to go towards you, and then you can start dishing the ball around, swinging the ball around, getting your guys going. If no shots available, you get the ball back and you do your thing all over again, at least, foul baiting, even if that too as well. Honestly, I don't have a huge problem with it. It only gets annoying to me watching when you don't get your other players going. At least, other players are getting going, and then you got to use that. I get that, but when you're just doing your own thing and all, and I feel like when you're not getting your players, your other teammates involved and all, I do find it a little hard to watch. And I felt like game 2 with Jalen Brunson, he was a bit hard to watch and all. I just think he could have slowed it down a bit, got it, figured out a way to get his teammates involved, because that's the only way he's going to be able to beat the Detroit Pistons. It's not going to be Jalen Brunson versus the Pistons. It's going to take the New York Knicks versus the Pistons at least and all. But still, I just hope he played. He played better in game 1 at least and all. So I don't expect it to continue and all too as well. No different with Jokic having 7 turnovers in the game and all too as well. I don't expect that to continue. I believe Jalen Brunson was named Clutch Player of the Year too as well. I expect him to play better at least and all. I was just play better with his teammates, I should say, at least and all too as well. The guy dropped 37 points in that basketball game that I'm making a big deal about. So still, he was effective in a way and all. I just think Bridges missing that shot and all. I just think it was a big proponent of Jalen Brunson not using his teammates to get his points, more just looking to go, 1-on-5 against the Pistons at least, and all the work to a degree, because again he scored 37 points. I believe the Knicks went to the line 21 times or 22 times, and he went, and I believe he had 12 to 14 free throws of them and all too as well. So I can't knock it. I just want him to use his teammates just a bit more the way Cade Cunningham is. I feel like that's the difference in this series and all. When we look at the 7 of the 8 quarters and all, the Pistons have thoroughly outplayed the Knicks and all in the first 2 games of this series and all. So if it wasn't for what's his name, Campaign's 4th quarter in game 1 against the Pistons and all, the Knicks could easily be down 2-0 in my opinion and all. So I hope Jalen Brunson can adjust. I do expect him to adjust. He's too great of a player not to adjust. Like I even hate critiquing it, but just based on what I saw in game 2 at least, if the Detroit Pistons are playing so up again, I don't mind him going straight to the basket. In my opinion, you should slow it down. Probe. He's as a 6'1" guard. He's got a post up game 2 and all. Just probe a bit, slow it down at least, because if they do choose to blitz him or double team and all, he can pass out of it. Find your Mikal Bridges, your Anunobys, and your Townses, and for them to find some outside shots and a bit more comfort than like in the last second situation where it's 6 to 5 to 4 or 3 seconds left in the shot clock, where they're hoisting a shot with no type of rhythm or a chance to get set to give themselves a comfortable shot at least and all, in a high stress situation at least and all too as well. So that's the only knock I have about Jalen Brunson and all. But I feel like if he doesn't do that though, they're in a position where they could lose this series and all against the Pistons and all. So that's why I make a big deal at least. Now if this was a lesser inferior team, I wouldn't be so concerned at least. And I would say they have the time to figure it out and all. But Cade Cunningham is looking like the best player on this series. I'm looking at the depth outside the best players in each team and all. I have to give the Pistons an edge there too as well. That's where my concerns lay with the Knicks, if Jalen Brunson doesn't at least adjust a bit. But again, I do expect it. I don't want to knock him too much at least and all, just based on what I saw from game 2. And then obviously my creme de la creme, the Celtics versus the Magic and all. Magic knock out my boy Jason Tatum from game 2 at least. And I was able to finish game 1, but unfortunately took a hard foul, fell wrong on his wrist at least and all. Apparently it's sore. Dealing with some type of bone bruise in the wrist at least and all too as well. I don't expect it to be a long-term thing, but it looks like they were smart to hold him out, because the Celtics ultimately won game 2 going away, even though the Magic were playing tough in that game too as well, honestly. So high credit to them at least and all too as well, with their physical play. I won't say dirty, I just will say physical at least and all too as well. But I think one of their only ways of staying in this series is to make this game a little junky, make it a little mucky at least and all too as well. The Celtics went to the free throw line like 30 times, 35 times, I think, something like that in game 2, compared to the Magic going 12 times times at least and all. And it wasn't that the Celtics were foul baiting. The Orlando Magic were definitely fouling, and I think there was a purpose behind it. Shout out to Brian Scalabrine on the telecast that I was watching last night. It was I think it was more part of the game plan of the Orlando Magic to slow down the C's at least, and all, not to have them shooting the 3-point shot as what's the word, I'm trying to find a word for it, but as much, there we go, as much, not for them to shoot the 3-point shot as much as they usually do. Try to keep them under 30 attempts, in my opinion. No, I think it worked. I think the Celtics ended up being around like 26, 27, maybe a little bit over 30, but not too much over. I don't think it was close to 40 as the C's typically shoot from the three-point line. They usually get up about 35 to 40 3-point attempts at least, and all. So I think they kept them under at least 35. I would say at least under 35. I think the Magic kept. Let's check. Let me check. I think I'm able to check. Let me check. I think there's a link. Yes, we go. We got links. We got box. Do we have let me see. We got stats. We do have stats. There we go. All right. Let me see. I believe I want to give the Magic credit for game 2 at least. But we're doing all series, all games. Yeah, can we scale it? No, they can't scale it for me, so I'll let it go. But I'm pretty sure that the Magic were able to pull out their game plan and keep the C's under. Yeah, there we go. To keep the C's under 35 at least 3-point attempts in that game at least. No, they happened to go into the line a lot. Kristaps Porzingis led the way with like 15 free throw attempts at least and all too as well. And also that was their game plan. C's figured it out at least. And all, Jaylen Brown had himself a big game. I believe he had dropped 38 points. Yeah, 38 points. In that game, and all 3-point shot was on 5 for 7, I believe it was, from the 3-point line too as well, and all had himself 5 assists and all 10 rebounds and all too as well, which I don't see from Jaylen Brown a lot. I wish I saw more of it, but when you got Jason Tatum and Kristaps Porzingis and Al Horford at times at the forward positions, it makes sense why he's not rebounding and he's more leaking out to the other side of the court at least and all too as well. So but great performance by him. Payne Pritchard had himself a big game too as well, some big shots. Derek White again in the fourth quarter had himself some big shots in game 2. I'm talking about game 2 and all. Game 1 at least and all, big credit to the Magic. They really came out to play and all too as well. Third quarter the C's again just stepped up at least and all too as well. Derek White had himself a 30-point game in that game too as well. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown were all right in that game and all too as well. Even Kristaps Porzingis was all right too. Drew Holiday, even though his stats won't say it in that game 1, was thoroughly awesome in that basketball game too as well, and all forced the same turnover that he forced in game 1, and all forcing a half court violation too as well against the Magic. And also even though I feel like the Celtics haven't even played anywhere close that they're playing right now, I feel like they've been in command basically of this series and all. But shout out to the Magic too as well. I feel like they've made these games more interesting than you would want, honestly. As a Celtics fan, I kind of wanted this matchup because I don't think the C's are facing anybody more physical than this team going forward, at least in the Eastern Conference and all too as well. When I look at the other teams at least and all, I just don't see physicality the way I see the Magic. And all, if the Heat are able to get through the Cavs, maybe we'll have another conversation about that. But I think the Magic are by far the most physical team in the Eastern Conference and all. Obviously, the Houston Rockets can name the claim of that if we're talking about the NBA at least and all. But when we talk about the Eastern Conference, definitely the Magic are the most physical team in the Eastern Conference. I really like this test for the Boston Celtics as a fan at least and all, going forward at least and all, where they can show physicality to their opponent going forward. If they're able to get by the Magic, I'm presuming, because it's only 2 games in at least and all. But again, if they're able to get by and all, I would really like this type of matchup going forward for the Boston Celtics at least and all. Game 3 will be tricky. Like I said, the Magic have played tough in the first 2 games at least and all. It wouldn't be surprising at all if they came in for game 3, first game at home, in a playoff game at least. They showed that last year against the Cleveland Cavaliers in game 1 of their first home game of the postseason last year and all. It wouldn't surprise me if they did. They won this one, and we're looking at the series a little differently because they've won 1 game at least and all too as well. And also, but that's what we got so far in the first 2 games of each series of the NBA playoffs so far, mind you. My bad. We're at 30 minutes, so cool. I kept a nice short episode and all. I guess since I have a little time, we can talk about the NFL Draft 2025, Round 1, happening today. Do I have anybody that sets it up all well and all too as well? I can find the screen. All right, no, I don't like this. Let me see if I can get draft order list on here somewhere. Let me see. Just give me the draft order. Can someone give me the draft order? I believe NFL.com should be cool. Yeah, there we go. We got the draft order right there. We can zoom in for the people watching on YouTube for them. Alright. No, we're doing a whole bunch of extra stuff now. Give me a second. Give me a sec. Okay, there's nothing I can do with that. Alright, there's nothing I can do with that. Alright, there's nothing I can do with that. So we'll just go over this real quick. We got the Tennessee. Ooh, you want to play with me? You want to play with me? All right. We have the Tennessee Titans and the Cleveland Browns, the New York Giants, the New England Patriots, and the Jacksonville Jaguars are the top five making picks in today's NFL draft, at least round one in today's round one. I believe round two, round four will be on Friday, and then Saturday will be 5, 6, and 7. I think that would make sense. We got 6 rounds, breaking 2, one on Friday, the other on Saturday. That's what I'm assuming. At least on the round one will be on Thursday, at least. No, but we got the Titans, the Browns, like I said, the Giants, the Pats, and the Jags, top 5. Even the Raiders, we got the Raiders, Jets, Panthers, Saints, and Bears from 6 to 10 at least. And all. So those are your interesting, I guess, draft board at least. And we look at the top 10 at least and all. Because of the draft, I've been told I'm a casual when it comes to this type of stuff at least and all too as well. I like learning more than I'm educating when it comes to this type of NFL draft or college football type of stuff at least and all too as well. Just learning or educating myself at least and all. But from what I was told at least and all, it's not that deep of a draft. From what I'm hearing, it looks like this is a defensive oriented draft more than an offensive oriented draft. Where there'll be this is a surprise if there's a. They'd be surprised if 4 quarterbacks win in the first round, or they'd be surprised if there's 3 running backs going in the first round, or even 3 receivers going in the first round. If you throw out Travis Hunter, because he's a dual threat at least, who plays wide receiver and cornerback. But if you threw him out at least, they'd be surprised if there's more than 3 receivers, or even 2 that go in the first round at least, 2 as well. So, and you got Tyler Warren. It seems to be the only tight end that seems to be that could go in the top 15, if not just in the first round as well, honestly. And also we got even for the offensive linemen too as well. Will Campbell is the high-end left tackle so far, and he's got measurables that you wouldn't like going in and all, even though he played for an SEC school. This is the Southeastern Conference and all. I think from me being a casual at least and all, is the best conference in college football at least and all, in college basketball too, honestly, which is kind of crazy at least and all. But maybe the SEC is transitioning and all because we got the Big 12, I think, and all, or the Big 10. I think it's the Big 10 because the Big 12 got like the Pac-12 teams and all. Like I said, I don't educate. I'm learning myself at least and all. But still, again, with the offensive players, I'm bringing up Will Campbell at least and all because he's the best left tackle at least and all. But his measurables aren't high. And we got Membu from Missouri at least and all too as well, a right tackle. But his measurables are great, I guess, and all. His talent is great apparently. But it's the time, at least in all that he's played, I think is the issue. I think and all too as well why he's not as high. And he's not as high, and he's a right tackle, and most quarterbacks are right-handed, and the left tackle protects your blind side at least and all too as well. So that's why left tackles are presumably more favorable than right tackles and all that. There's only like 3 to 5 lefty quarterbacks. 5 maybe too much, honestly. I think about Penix. I think about who's not a lefty quarterback? Tua. There's not many. You know what I mean? So that's why right tackles to some teams aren't that valuable to left tackles at least. And also, again, just saying at least. No, but still, the offensive side in this draft doesn't seem all that. What's it called? Yeah, you got Cam Ward at least. And all too, probably going number 1 to the Titans at least. No, but again, the offensive side doesn't look to be all that flourishable not flourishable, but plentiful. There we go in round 1 at least, compared to the defensive side at least, and all. So that's why it looks like for the Titans, Cam Ward looks like he's going number 1 to the Titans. Played with Miami. Number 2, we got the Cleveland Browns. Travis Hunter is rumored to be going over there at least, and all. Like I said, he's a dual threat coming out of Colorado and all. You got the Giants looking like they may I think it wouldn't be surprising if they traded and all, but that's just me talking ish at least and all. But Abdul Carter looks like he'd be going there at least and all. The Patriots, even though I'm not the biggest fan of them drafting Will Campbell at least and all too as well, but it looks like that's what they'll be doing at number 4 and all too, and also and then number 5. That's where to me it's up in the air after that at least and all. It could be up in the air with the Pats too as well. I think it is because I feel like Mike Vrabel has been more bought in on defense this offseason and all, and it wouldn't surprise me that he got a defensive guy, but the issue is the best guys at that position are defensive linemen and all. They signed Milton Williams. They already have a young guy in Keon White. It looks like even Christian Barmore is going to be ready to go, even though he dealt with blood clot issues last year and all. But he seems to be at opening day. Teams have already started their spring camps or workouts and all that type of stuff to off-season program. There we go, OTAs or whatever that is and all. But what's it called? The Christian Barmore for the Pats has already seemed like he's already in OTAs and all. He's getting himself ready for the season and all. So it could be a stretch for the Pats to draft another D lineman and all too as well. After you have 2 young guys, you just signed a guy for countless amount of money in Milton Williams and all too as well. And in the past, the Pats never really have had D-line issues and all. They've always had pretty good depth there too as well and all. So it would be interesting if they got themselves another D lineman and all, because you got the Mason Grahams there, you got the Jalen Walkers there and all that you could draft at number 4 and all. But are you solid? And you are solid, but how solid do you feel at least and all? I guess if you're the Pats or their war room and all too as well. But I just wanted to bring it up real quick. I find it very interesting going into this season at least and all, or this weekend at least and all. The draft is finally here at least and all. I guess your interesting name too might as well put it on the podcast and all. Shedeur Sanders and all. Presumably a top end quarterback and all. When you look at people's mock drafts like your famous Mel Kiper at least and all. This guy has Shedeur Sanders 1, but everyone Cam Ward is clearly going number 1 to the Titans at least and all, and Shedeur Sanders, who could be falling out of the first round and all too as well. So it could happen. I don't know if I see it. I can't say anything like that and all. I would think based off knowledge at least, the Saints and the Steelers obviously would be interested in the quarterback like that based on how NFL teams made their moves in free agency in March and all. So those are the 2 teams I would expect Shedeur Sanders to go. If teams looking for a quarterback or in need of a quarterback and all too as well. So, but he is the interesting name in this draft at least and all too as well. Ashton Genty too as well is probably an interesting name, but Sanders is obviously the more interesting name because of the father's last name and the Colorado things, the personality knocks and all that extra stuff and all too as well. So, but yeah, we got the NFL draft this weekend. Should be interesting how that turns out and all too as well. I got some buddies that are pretty excited for that too as well. Also, I thought I would bring that up real quick and all, but that's all I got for today's episode and all. Finally not late on reaction and all too as well. So should be back to the NBA at least before I close it out. Should be interesting how these games 3 and 4s play out at least in all series. Like I said, 2 games in, so they'll be transitioning to the other side of the opponent's arena, if I got that laid out right and all too as well. So obviously blabbering at this point, and also I appreciate you guys listening. Please like, subscribe, and comment if you guys are on the YouTube side. And again, if you guys are listening on any podcast platform like Apple or Spotify or anything like that, please leave a rating or a review, comment if that's available too as well, and all that'd be awesome to help support the podcast and all too as well. But again, I appreciate you guys listening, and we'll talk soon. Peace.